Hey everybody, good morning. I'm Charlie. Today we're going to be covering the best audience on Facebook. I hope this helps you out. The idea here is we're going to really break down how the algorithm works, what the best audience to actually target is, and why that is where you should be spending your time and effort and how to crush Facebook moving forward. We're going to have a lesson. It's going to be 15 to 20 minutes, and then we're going to give a homework. And if you do the homework from this lesson or any of the live feeds or any of the lessons, you get any of the ebooks from FacebookDisruptor.com for free or 50% off any of the tiers. You can also DM me for more assistance with that. So that being said, let's get started. Okay, so the best audience on Facebook. Let's give the headline. It is 18 plus. Now, let me tell you why 18 plus. When we're talking about 18 plus, what we're saying is it's a broad audience. It's the largest broad audience that can be applicable to our brand. Now, maybe if it's alcohol sales or something else that requires an age limitation, you can go 21 plus if need be. But here is why 18 plus works best for us. I'm going to break this down into 3 sections. So the first section is what we call a base CPM, okay? So a base CPM is what the starting cost of this inventory is for us. Now, why is this important? When Facebook decides what to charge you to reach people, this is what we call the inventory. It's the CPMs, the cost per milli, cost per 1,000 impressions. Now, why this is important is because this is how much it actually costs to reach individuals. Remember, eyeballs are the inventory on Facebook where you're paying money to reach. So the money that you are spending is utilized to specifically reach new individuals. So all that being said, base CPM. Your base CPM is the starting cost of how you reach people. So what does that have to do with 18 plus? Facebook, just like anything else in the world, the more you customize things, the more options you present, the more that you try to make it specific to your own needs, the more it costs. So when you start to add on interest targeting and behaviors and segment things out, just like anything else in the world, as you add options, you end up paying more. The lowest thing that you can charge is the least amount of customization, the base model, as it were. So with the base model, the 3 options you can actually put into Facebook to not get charged extra is age, gender, and location. So in this case, the best option is 18 plus, men and women, wherever you're trying to target your audience. Now, that is how we get the lowest base CPM. Then we go into the auction where it is your budget and your estimated action rate. That modifies your CPM, your cost for your inventory, to tell you, the system, how much to charge you to reach people. And now, not to get too scientific, but if you go down into the ad set and you start to look at how you're being bid and how you're being charged by the impressions. So the number one way of getting, one of the best ways of getting more efficient is to lower your cost per impression, and getting the biggest audience with the least amount of customization presents you the lowest cost per impression before they start tacking on extras for your budget and your estimated action rate. Now, to get one little side note on that, the higher your budget or the lower your estimated action rate, the more they will charge you based on your initial CPM. Now, this is why sometimes when you have a super hyper segmented retargeting audience, or if you have new ads or things aren't going well, your CPM could go from $20 to $50 or $100. And you're like, what's going on? Generally, the reason that that's happening is for one of 2 pieces. Number one, your creative, your ads have a very low estimated action rate, or B, the base CPM for that audience plus your budget creates this algebra that is just astronomical and undesirable for you. So that is one reason why 18 plus is the best, the lowest base CPM. You are starting at your cost of inventory being the absolute cheapest possible. Therefore, all of everything else that you're doing starts on the lowest cost, right? So it's about inventory management, just like any business. If you can acquire your inventory for cheaper, then you can, when you sell it or you spend money to make money on it, there's a higher profit margin. If I can reach people for $10 for 1,000 and it costs you $50 to reach 1,000, I can be 20% as efficient on my conversion rate as you, and we will still break even. So that is something that I really want to drive home. Point number 2 as to why 18 plus is the best audience on Facebook. If you can win with an ad at 18 plus, that means that you have the largest opportunity for scaling your budget. Now, this is a big point. Some folks will find, well, it goes to this interest group, and then I get over to here, and I get this lookalike, and I get these other things, but there's only so many people, blah, blah, blah. There is no group larger for people 18 or older than everybody over the age of 8, everybody 18 and older. If you include everyone, it is the most stable and most scalable option for targeting. Now, this is fundamental to long-term success because we're not building ad accounts and campaigns and all of this other stuff to try to find short-term wins. That is obsolete thinking and is going to tank your business because it's going to require more and more work to achieve. Now, there's a lot of people that find success there, and it absolutely can work for some folks. The problem here is that when you try to scale your business by itemizing out each individual option, you are taking more and more control, which means it's far more work. And every layer of complexity, every new audience, every new campaign requires testing to define what the best ad, the best budget, the best bid, all of that stuff. So every layer of complexity increases the amount of investment in time, money, and opportunity cost to make sure that you're maximizing the efficiency and the effectiveness of that investment. So if you're going against 18 plus, which again is everybody in your target market, you can then only have to test in one place. And if you can win there, you can run there forever. That's a big piece. You don't have to chase down audiences anymore because that's old thinking. You don't have to try to find the right ad for the right audience because you're not worried about that anymore because you're using Facebook's big data, the machine learning to your advantage. Facebook is the #1 invention for mankind since the dawn of humanity at creating intent at scale across complete strangers utilizing their behavior. Now, you can either lean into that or you can try to take control from that. And one of those requires a ton more work, is far more expensive and less effective. The other one is 18 plus, and then just doing creative testing. So hopefully you understand that. So point number 2, stability and scalability. That audience will always be there. And you can spend a lot more money against an audience that is 100 million, 200 million people than you can against one that's maybe 500,000 that costs you more because, again, to our first point, you've customized your way into a higher cost inventory. Now, the last point around 18 plus, around why it is the best audience, goes to something that I hinted at before, but it removes complexity from your system, which allows you to get more data in a consolidated place. Remember, Facebook is a big data platform. It is built around being smart by looking at literally billions of people 24 hours a day and trillions of data points with a T, trillions of data points in real time. And it's making doing auctions in microseconds 24 hours a day. Literally every second of every day, it is having millions of small micro auctions that are occurring. So it's using all of that information to try to deliver a result. If you are running 18 plus, that means you only have to win in one place. If you try to do 5 audiences, 10 audiences, 3, 4, 5 campaigns, you could have to try to find the best available option in a dozen, 2 dozen places. Now, that is incredibly difficult to do. If you put all of that data and all of that spend into one place, then you're going, if you can win there, then you can move on to other business problems. And why the #1 feedback that I get against this is people saying, well, you know, I need image ads for this thing, I need video ads for this thing, or I need to do a different offer for retargeting, which is absolutely wrong. Like 90% of the time, retargeting ads are a luxury problem most people don't have, and it actually gets in the way for almost everybody that tries to handle that issue. My point here is, if you can spend all of your money in one place and you can collate all of your data into one place, then that machine learning has been empowered because instead of diversifying a little bit of data over here, a little bit of data over there, there's some more data behind that bush and some in the other room, it's all in one place. It's all in one area, which means it is as smart as possible. Every penny that you have spent today informs your success next week, next month, next year, because you're not chasing a lottery ticket win and trying to work around what is the next best thing. You're focusing in on how do I make the machine as smart as possible and train it to understand my business objectives. And I'm going to put giving a fuck about my customer and trying to make really good advertising so that I'm less of a burden and more of an asset on their experience in this platform. And then I'm going to go on building the rest of my company around the other needs that are going to move me forward. The honest truth is that most people, when they're trying to chase down a whole bunch of audiences, they might get a 3x in one place and they'll fail somewhere else. They might chase something that's working for like a week and then they're losing someplace else. They might be able to do all of this stuff. Maybe you can make it all work by pounding your head against the wall 12 hours a day. And the honest truth is 6 months from now, you're going to be basically the same place you were today because you weren't investing in your future. You were seeing what was directly in front of you, and you were trying to take advantage of that instead of trying to play the bigger game. When you micromanage the hell out of your ad account, you are likely to see some success. There's absolutely value there. My point to that of why I don't encourage it is because that prevents you from being able to solve bigger problems. The amount of time and effort and opportunity cost it takes to get this ad to work or that ad to work or anything else is far less of an overall impact to your business than working on your customer service, doing landing page testing, finding the right bundle, working on your email flows. There are a million other disciplines that are also very impactful. What you want to do is break every single one of those down to the simplest situation possible, get incremental growth in every one of those places, and start to take very big swings so you can make 10%, 20, 50, 100% changes in your business. That's far, far better than investing hours every day into micromanaging a system that's smarter than you anyway. So how does this all come back to 18 plus? If you're able to win and you focused your time and effort finding the ad or the 2 or 3 ads that can win at 18 plus, then you don't have to worry about micromanaging Facebook anymore. It is now a thing that maybe takes 15, 20, 30 minutes a day tops on actual like execution and reporting. And you can spend the rest of your time doing critical thinking, looking at your customers, designing creative, looking at your tests, strategizing things, working on more important problems. Now, I'm not saying you only run 18 plus. I'm saying that's the best audience, and everything else that you do inside of the platform needs to provide incremental performance to that. There has to be a business reason with objectives that you can point to on an Excel spreadsheet as to why this is good for your bottom line instead of focusing on everything else. So if you have 18 plus and it's working for you, maybe the next option is, yes, I want to do a lookalike audience because 18 plus is a quantitative solution. I'm getting the lowest cost for the most amount of data and the most amount of people. But if I have a lookalike 1% audience, I'm now giving Facebook a qualitative choice where it's able to decide, hey, look, I know this is the broadest amount of people, but I know that there's this hyper segment of very high quality people. My estimated action rate there might be much higher. The inventory might be more expensive, but because my estimated action rate and the quality of that audience is higher, the actual algebra at the end of the equation makes that audience as efficient or more efficient. And by running a CBO campaign, I'm able to let Facebook make the decision of where best to spend my dollars so that it sees the result that I need. Now, that's how that can work. Maybe you're getting into the game of like, well, you know, out of all of this stuff, I've really decided that I need to do some retargeting. And you've done some testing and you found maybe site traffic from the last 30 days. If I segment that out, I can be more efficient against that audience than just letting broad go, or I need to hyper focus on those people because of whatever reason. If you can prove that spending money there as a blended result across your entire business, not just your Facebook ROAS, because remember, once you start getting down in the funnel, you're competing much, much higher against your own search and email, customer service, SMS, all of those things. When you see a much higher Facebook ROAS and you're retargeting, remember that is an inflated number that begins to really start to overlap and take credit for other people's work. That's going to hurt your bottom line. That's why we always focus on the ecosystem ROAS, your spend and your total revenue by channel. If you find that it is beneficial to you, great. you've used 18 plus to define a control, a constant, and then you've done a test to determine a variable, which gives you a better outcome. It's 5th grade science class. If your account and your thinking and the way that you're strategizing your Facebook is more complicated than that, then you are honestly getting in your own way. And I really, really hope that you can work on trying to simplify. So the last point that I'll get to here before giving you the homework is 18 plus is the best audience for 3 reasons. Number one, it's the lowest cost CPM. It's the way that you can get the most amount of data for the cheapest, which means you're going to understand what a good impression is and what a bad one is. Number two, it is the most stable and scalable solution, meaning if you can win there, you can run your business forever. And number three, it allows you to focus on bigger objectives for your business than just trying to chase down the next winning audience, because it removes as many variables as possible so that Facebook becomes a constant in the scientific method for you to run your overall business, which is far more important than chasing vanity metrics inside of a platform where the data is only directionally important. It's never actually really that accurate. It might be 80, 90% correct, but you have to understand as your business gets more complex that it is less and less accurate to the bottom line, which is why we do not focus on Facebook ROAS being the only source of truth for our business. We focus on our total spend and our total revenue. We measure that on a one-day click, and we try to make that more and more efficient, but that's a whole other live, and you can go to the channel or you can see other things. Search Facebook Disruptor, one-day click, and you will see a lot of information on that, I promise. So my challenge to you, my homework for you today is going to be really easy. Message me with one of two things. Either A, I'm running 18 plus, and then tell me how it's going for you. Or B, I'm not running 18 plus, and why. Right? So either you're doing it and how's it going, or you're not doing it and tell me why. And there's no right or wrong answer. I'm not here to like scorn you as to like, hey, you should be doing it because X, Y, and Z, and shame on you. There are legitimate business reasons why some people won't do this. This advice works for 80, 90% of the people, 80, 90% of the time. There are absolutely unicorns in this situation, and I don't want you to take that I'm making an absolute statement that says this is the only way to do things, and if you're not doing it this way, then you're screwing up. Because if anybody ever gives you an absolute, the only absolute I'll believe in is that the idea of an absolute is something that you should be extremely suspicious of. So hopefully that makes sense. I just called myself out for what I was about to do. So anyway, with that, that's the lesson today. 18 plus. The best audience you can use on Facebook, the 3 reasons why, and your homework. If you do that homework, you get 50% off FacebookDisruptor.com, any of the tiers, or any of the ebooks from Disruptor.com, FacebookDisruptor.com for free. We're at 18 ebooks now, and honestly, I'm working on number 19. We do them like once every 4 to 6 weeks. The latest ebook was how to build a winning ad account Facebook ad account in 2021. And I got a whole video dive into that. And I'm going to try to link it here so you can see how to find it. Okay. So I hope that that's helpful. I hope that you've enjoyed that.